Okay, this is going to be our last orthographic practice block. First step, you guessed it, tape it down nice and straight. And let me get some of those little eraser shavings out of the way. And then we'll add in our border and title block. 1/4 inch on each side. 1/2 inch up for the title block. 1/4, 1/4. Sometimes kind of crazy how much of a difference a sharpened pencil makes. All right, and then we'll divvy out our title block into 4-inch space, 3-inch, 2, and 1.5. And then we'll pick a place to start our front view and just kind of carve out an overall bounding box of it. So in my front view, I have an overall length of 6 and an overall height of 2. And so I'm just making little marks with my ruler and then using my tools to create that box. Now I can start putting in some of those little features for this block. So for my front, I have that overall height of 2, and then I've got this little feature here that goes in 1 inch and goes down 1 inch. So I'll measure 1 inch down, 1 inch over. I can feel a sneeze coming on. Excuse me. Tried to cover the mic, so hopefully it wasn't too gross. So I'm just kind of lining my tools up with my features. And then for that slope, just like with the dovetail, I don't necessarily know what that angle is from looking at the block, but I do know that it starts up here and ends down here. So I can just take any form of straight edged tool, line my 2 points up, and connect the dots. And also similar to my dovetail joint, I'm going to leave at least this part of my guide work there because my miter line comes from where the top and the rightmost lines meet, and I want to just have that there as that reference for when I want to put my miter line in. So there's my front view, and I'm just going to pick somewhere to start my top. And anywhere I have features in my front view, I want to also carry them up into the top view. So I just kind of am lining the tool up, throwing those lines up. And then I have an overall depth of 3. So again, I'm just going to focus on making that overall bounding box of the view. And then I can worry about adding in any additional features. So with my top view, I already have that there's this ledge here, And what I need to show is that there is this face, and this one. Now, similar to the dovetail in the front, as well as this chamfered block from the previously, when I'm looking at that top view, I'm not going to be able to see how far down it slopes. I get that information from the front. I can see that what that slope is. From the top, I can't see what necessarily that angle is or anything, but I can see that there's a difference between this face, and this face. So what I want to do is measure how far up it is from the bottom, which is 1 inch up, and it's also 1 inch wide. So I'm just going to kind of divvy that up into 3 little 1 inch areas, and then use my T-square to separate this into its 3 separate faces. So again, in the top, I can't see what that slope is, but I just can see that it's different in those 3 areas. Now for my side, I'll put my miter line in. So again, from where the top and right side meet, which is right there, even though that's not on my object. And then I'll just reference where these lines would cross. And I'll project them down. And you can, if you have been like just carrying these lines all the way down from the miter line, like this, if you've been just going all the way from there down, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Technically, that's the correct way to do it. But I just like to only make them that little shorter bit to give me less to erase because I'm lazy. And I'll bring those lines over to reference that height. Now, when it comes to my side view, I can see in the side view, again, this flat face here, but there is no edge there on this bottom piece. But on the top piece, I can see that there's a difference between this face, this angled face, and this one. But in the side view, again, I'm not going to be able to see what that slope is. I can just see that it slopes from this point into that 1 inch point. So it's not going to show the true length of that surface because that surface is way longer than it appears in here. It just looks as to be 1 inch in here. And the same thing with the top view. So in the top view, it appears to be just a 5 inch long line. But if we take a ruler to it, we can actually see that it's a little bit shorter than that. So when we're only going to see it as its true one in any view where we're viewing an incline from the side, but if we're viewing an incline from just the top, it's going to appear as a foreshortened surface. Same thing then if we're looking at it from this view, it appears foreshortened. And that then is this orthographic practice complete. Let me just clean up some of these guides a little bit. And so this one is called the angled block. And then we'll put your name. Hopefully you've been writing your actual name in here and not just the words your name. Wouldn't that be bad? The date that you drew this on. The scale, which again, we did this 1:1, so 1 inch on paper is 1 inch in reality. And then how many drawings are associated with this block? This is drawing 1 of 1 for the angled block.